4 of Shark Week here on my channel. Today we're not going to talk about sharks, we're going to talk about the shark lady. Famed Japanese-American marine biologist Eugenie Clark. Not only was she a researcher on sharks, she was also a pioneer in the use of scuba gear and continued to dive and do research well into her 90s. Clark began researching sharks in a time period where sharks were still, not that much has changed, considered deadly, awful things that no one wanted to have anything to do with. And she started her research after World War II, where stigmas towards Japanese Americans were pretty high and confusing, and was one of the few women to be doing research and science during that time period. Even though her focus was sharks, she did discover and name several new species of fish during her research. A lot of her research, though, did focus on sharks and getting rid of the myths around them. She even discovered the first effective shark repellent, which was created from secretions in flatfish called the Moses sole. One of the biggest myths she dispelled as a marine biologist was when she traveled to undersea caves in Mexico and found sleeping sharks. There was a myth at that time that sharks had to be swimming to sleep, and her discovery of the sleeping sharks in the caves of Mexico dispelled that myth that sharks can be still and sleep. During her years, Clark worked for Scripps Institution of Oceanography and even taught at the University of Maryland. Overall, Eugenie Clark was a woman who pioneered marine biology in that time period, not only for women but for people of mixed race and color. Her disregard for stereotypes of what can and can't be done for a woman is insane. She connected deeply with her Japanese culture and even taught the Crown Prince of Japan how to snorkel. And she continued working for years and years and years up until, like I said, into her 90s. She died 3 years ago, and she will be remembered as one of the pioneering experts in shark research and shark science in the marine biology field. I hope you guys learned something today on the ever-loved Eugenie Clark, and I encourage you to go do your own research on her as well. I have links to...
Position 7, prepare for dive. Roger. All controls on course.
10 miles off the coast of Bermuda, a select group of America's top marine scientists are hard at work. They're here for a month-long expedition to study the animals of the deep sea, some of the least-known creatures on Earth.
Report diving coordinates. Report your depth every 50 meters.
National Geographic photographer Emery Kristoff and shark specialist Dr. Eugenie Clark have spent years preparing for this project.
The big ones are the females. We have yet to see a female. Hope we see it on this dive.
This project is called the Beebe Project because it's the first time since the 1930s, when William Beebe went down in this area off the coast of Bermuda, that anyone has attempted a major study of marine organisms in the deep sea by going down and looking at them.
Yeah, that's a roger.
What observations can you make about Dr. Clark and her research?
Though technology has come a long way since Beebe's time, the world of the deep remains largely unknown. Using a sub called the Pisces 6, converted for research by international underwater contractors, some of the scientists are after a deep-dwelling shark called the six-gill. They will need specialized camera and tracking equipment to photograph and follow these rarely seen sharks through depths that may approach 1 mile. The Pisces will descend along the undersea mountain on top of which sits Bermuda, to the unexplored world below. Dr. Clark will attract the six-gill shark to the sub by setting up what amounts to a restaurant for them, a cage baited with tuna and placed on the seafloor. Acoustic pingers attached to a shark's tail will give another scientist a first look at their day-to-day traffic patterns.
What scientific questions can you make about Dr. Clark and her research?
project is well underway. But after 2 weeks at sea, a front moves in from the eastern United States. It is too dangerous to dive, and all scientific work is in jeopardy.
Marine weather at day 3, a tropical storm warning is in effect. Heavy seas to continue with waves 8 to 12 feet. Winds gusting at 35 to 50 knots.
We have been here now 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. We have eaten 6 days here. And all I'm promising Bob is he has 2 days, the 2 days that he was promised, the 20th and the 21st, to try and retrieve his experiments.
I'd like to wait it out and give it a try. And if the weather clears, then everything's fine.
Then we can move.
And we can move in.
Well,
That
you
was
have
that
to be the
situation the
judge
other
of
day.
that. I just
Yeah.
want to let you know that if we can get down there for half an hour, there's a very good chance we'll get the critical part of our experiment done. So we're willing to cut it down to the shortest dive possible just to try to get a tag in the shark.
Willing to try it?
Those are pretty big breakers coming. It looks a lot worse down there than it does out there. This is such a stable ship, it fools you. You think that it's not bad, but when you see that, I guess we better wait and play it safe.
Swells of this size could smash the sub against the steel hull of the ship. Playing it safe still means no diving.
Be advised, storm warning in effect for Bermuda for next 72 hours.
More than a week passes. The team can wait no longer. Sacrificing all the experiments set up in this spot, they pull anchor and head for smoother seas. In calm water at last, both subs prepare to dive.
Up in time! Finally gonna do it! Everything's looking good down there. Two wide lenses. Got those new wide lenses back on there. You ought to see the shark come right up and see his teeth when he bites into the cameras.
I'm finally going.
Thumbs up for the greatest dive in history.
We're now in water. Do you copy? Affirmative. Okay, we're all set. Begin descent.
Okay, this is the Pisces. We're the real strong current. We're trying to catch the wire. Over.
2,073 feet. Pisces.
We'll take the last few meters slow.
Clark and Lotes finally get a chance to search for the six-gill shark. They will descend almost half a mile, looking for a predator that can reach lengths of up to 20 feet.
What inferences can you make about what is going to happen?
Can we shake that manipulator arm a little bit more? Let's try that. I didn't.
There's not much bait there.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, that's a female. Wow. She's standing on her head now, and she's just nuzzling the sand. So little is known about these deep-sea sharks, and they're thought to be rare, but that's just because people don't see them, or they're rarely fished for in any country except Japan as a commercial fishery. So little is known, but I don't think they're rare here at Bermuda at all, because every time we come down in the sub, one comes along within the first few minutes. So it must be a pretty common animal down
There he
here.
is.
He's back again, okay. All
Got
right,
him.
wow. Twin drill. This is Pisces. We have two big sharks outside right now. One's biting on the manipulator arm and trying to get that last piece of tuna,
and the other one was over on this side. We had two big heads in the window at one time. It's really terrific.
Where do massive sharks like the six-gill get enough food to live in that deserted area that looks like a moonscape when you get down in a submarine? What's going on? Is it really that deserted?
They find that there is a lot going on, and every dive only provokes more questions. Clark can only theorize that these huge sharks must be both predator and scavenger, feeding on everything from small animals to the massive carcasses of dead whales. The study of the deep sea is still just beginning. These scientists have had a rare look at that hidden world. They have seen animals that William Beebe could only have dreamed of at depths he never reached. For Eugenie Clark, their success has special meaning.
As a child, William Beebe was my hero, and I used to read about him going down in the bathysphere, and I wanted to do that too, and I told my family, I said, I'd like to go down and be like William Beebe, and they said, well, maybe you can take up typing and get to be the secretary of William Beebe, or somebody like him. And I said, I don't want to be anybody's secretary, I want to be like the William Beebe going down, and I can't believe it, here I am doing just that, in the same place. Same place that Beebe went down more than 50 years ago. It's so fantastic. It's a dream come true. It really is.